Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos and CirclingSpace.com. And welcome to your energy astrology forecast for May 2022. Yay! I love doing these. Tiffany Harlick, rhymes with garlic if you want to remember it. She's here with us today from Wise Skies Collective. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you so much, Vicki. I'm glad to be here.
I'm throwing my shoes off right now. I'm reaching down, I'm taking them off. I just want to be barefoot with you today. Okay.
I'm barefoot too.
Yeah, it's hot here. Woo, it's hot here. All right. So let me share just a bit about Tiffany. She is the main writer at, you write like you have a couple of the writers, but you write the main blog or the main articles at wiseskiescollective.com.
Yeah.
And she does spiritual counseling. She is a long Russian lineage. She's a fourth generation Austintonian. Is that how you guys say it?
Austinite, yeah.
Austinite. Austintonian sounds so official.
That's for Houston. It's the Houstonian.
God, a Houstonian into Austinite. I learned something today. Okay, so she's an Austinite. And one thing I learned recently about you when you told me you were taking a course is that she is really fascinated and likes to work on missing persons cases and stuff with her psychic abilities. So she does readings as well. And she also developed a digital calendar. I always have a link below for that. So you can get that from Tiffany. So thank you guys. Check out info on Tiffany below and connect with her. And Tiffany, I'm so excited. What do you have? I know April. Wow, it's been amazing. April. I'm not even going to get into the story, but let's just say you said that with the Jupiter and Neptune conjunction in Pisces, and I'm a Pisces sun, that there might be some surprise like abundance or big things like that. And exactly, like literally a property I'd almost forgotten I had, with a relationship I had almost forgotten I had. It went through escrow and it ran really late just to land on that date and to come into my account on the 12th.
Wow. Are you serious? That's awesome.
I'm not kidding you. I'm serious. I didn't even remember about it until I got approached like 2 months ago. And then boom, there it is. And then it went into escrow and then it ran late and then it landed in my account on the 12th.
You can't make this up.
You don't make this stuff up, guys. It pays to pay attention to this stuff, and it gets real fun when you do, just like when you pay attention to the symbols in your life. So what is your overall feeling? Let's start, Tiffany, with the theme, as you usually do. And I know then you usually go into the numerology, and then we'll do the different astrological aspects that are happening.
Okay, perfect. The theme for me has to do with, we've got a Saturn semi-square or semi-sextile Neptune. And so I think it's going to be easy for us to lose focus on what's most important, right? So if I'm saying I think it's going to be easy for us to lose focus, Neptune, on what's most important, right? And I feel like that is the theme. It's like focus, just remember to focus on what's most important. The C's in the astrology, they're going to always be up and down. The cycles of time, some are ending, some are beginning, some are peaking. There's all kinds of cycles of time that are in layers. And so it's just going to be really easy to get lost and kind of be wishy-washy and go back and forth this month. We've got a Mercury retrograde coming. We've got a lot of things to work with in May, right? So don't lose focus on what's important.
Okay. I love that theme actually has an imperative in it, or it's telling us what to do. So I love that.
Okay, good.
Like it's actually giving advice right in the theme, like just stay focused on what's important. Yeah. And when you say about what's important, does it matter? Is it just like what's important to me? It could be a heart thing. It could be an education thing. It could be so it doesn't really matter what type of important. It's just like what's highest priority for me. Is that what you're saying?
That, okay, so I guess there's a couple different ways you could interpret it. I think the way that I was thinking about it would be, it's just so easy to get lost in the details, to have little arguments that don't matter, just to get in the mud with things. It's like, take the high road, stay up. There's a big theme in relationships, and so it could be staying focused on what's most important. Do we have common values? Like that would be the most important thing.
Exactly. As soon as you said relationship, I'm like, okay, that's easy. It's like we're on the same team.
Okay. Yeah.
Right,
Right.
right, right. We're on the same team. Like whenever I remember that, we're on the same team. We're not, and
Right.
we don't want to get into the muck of actually putting our energy against each other. We're on the same team. I love when
Right.
you say common values in that. Okay, so relationally, it might really show up. And anywhere it's showing up, you're saying not only stay focused in terms of moving forward focus, but stay focused in every moment. Am I worrying or dealing with something that's petty, unimportant, in the muck, in the mud,
Mhm.
like that?
Like that, because there's going to be a lot of different opportunities to gather data throughout the month. And so
Okay.
I think what can happen is if we gather data and make a decision on one little data piece, we're going to miss a lot of other stuff, right? So there's like this dipping in and out, looking at data from different directions and staying focused on the most important thread.
Right.
I've been talking about it kind of like this crystal, right? Like if you just describe this crystal looking at it from this side, you're going to say, oh, it's gray, it's a triangle. But if you look at it from this side, right,
It's very
there's all
different.
these different ways to describe it, and nobody's wrong, but it doesn't matter. The most important thing is I've got this magic crystal in my hand.
Yeah, to remember that. Okay.
That's kind of the way I'm seeing it. It's like there's something, it's easy to get lost in the data, but stay focused on our common goals, our common values, our core values, knowing that relationships are a big theme this month too.
That feels good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the numerology like? What's happening?
Okay. So the numerology, it's like the end of April really fades into the numerology in an interesting way, because at the end of April, we've had a full moon in Libra, the sign of partnerships. We will have had an eclipse the very last day of April or first day of May, depending on where you are, that falls over Eros, which is Cupid's like bow, right? And is conjunct Uranus, which is very surprising. So I think we're going to see, as May begins and the numerology shifts into a 2 of partnerships, I think we're going to see surprise engagements, surprise babies. I think people will be having those oopsies, I think we're going to see.
And in our hemisphere, it's also spring, which is perfect fitting, right? When spring really starts to become spring, when it's not just that little bit coming up, but you're like, wow, it's spring. I better get with the bees now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so as we've got those relationship influences, and the numerology shifts into a 2, which is the frequency of relationships, relationships, it can be a fun love story, but relationships also between the seen and the unseen world, relationships between the head and the heart, relationships on how am I in all of my relationships, what kind of daughter am I, what kind of mom am I, how am I with my money?
You go, girl.
You know what I
Everything's
mean?
a relationship, right? I mean, everything,
Right.
my relationship with money, my relationship with my own body, my relationship with my health in my body, everything's a relationship. So yay. So this
Mhm.
is a good month that if we remember everything's a relationship, we're going to be able to do a lot of good work in all of those
Yes,
relationships.
and it's not about what am I getting, but what am I giving? How am I contributing, right? How am I showing up?
Showing
Uh,
up was the word I had in my head. Thank you.
and the downside of relationships is when we get into people pleasing tendencies and when we overgive. So that can be your bumper when I'm like demanding and expecting everything to go my way. I'm on this side, when I'm over here doing everything your way, then I'm on this side. So there's got to be a middle road, and relationships teach us that, right? That balance. That full moon, that eclipse, some door has shut, right? And you turn back and there's a wall there. And so that's a good thing, because you want to go forward in relationships with yourself and with others with this fresh new energy. So we're going to see there's going to be a lot of plot twists, right? It's
I
right
love
on top of Uranus. So like lots of surprises, unpredictable things, and like for better or worse is a big theme with that.
I love that one. Okay, for better or worse, relationship time.
So, yes. And so if we look at the astrology, right, May, there's a lot of fiery things in the sky. And so as we approach it, I just want to say be careful about burnout. It looks great in the beginning, and you're going to be like, Tiffany, May's awesome. What are you talking about? Because you're going to get into the first week of May, and it's going to be like, yes, yes, yes. But then as it goes on, there's a tendency to build kind of more frustration instead of this inner strength and perseverance. And so I feel like if we pace ourselves from the beginning, it's going to be fine with the awareness of that. Um, you know, this is not a month to give ultimatums or to force things. This is a month to gather a lot of data. You know, if you saw me one night in one bar in my 20s, you would make a decision about me, right? But if you saw me over time in the apiary, or with law enforcement working on missing persons, or if you saw the
As a
different,
mother or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, you would have a more informed decision. And so just don't come to conclusions early in
You're
May.
back to the gem again. All the
Yes,
facets of your gem, just like you just showed us with the crystal. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
I love it. Don't, so this is a month I want to repeat that, you guys, because I don't think Tiffany's big on all these cautions and stuff. So I want to repeat. She's saying this is not a month for ultimatums or to force things.
Mhm.
Okay. It was just so funny because I just recently saw they have this new thing on Netflix. So if you have to do it, watch it rather than do it. Because they got this thing called ultimatum, people who want to be married and they give the ultimatum or something. And I'm like, it's about relationships, it's ultimatum. So that's what you don't want to do. No,
Don't be on that show.
not this month. And if I'm telling people, fine, go watch the show if you want to get it out of your system.
Get it out of your system. That's a
Yeah.
good way of dealing with it. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to hold my best days and challenging days for the end. But
Okay.
if we look at May 1st, it's kind of an interesting time. So Venus opens May up with, she's sextiling Pluto. And so these are two of our powerful money planets. And so people that are doing a money makeover, investing in some things, you know, you want to just kind of check in on that May 1st, that fresh energy, and see what has changed over time. Where are my finances? What can I celebrate? What are the opportunities I want to play with? And you know, really just think about money makeover, because Pluto transforms and changes everything, and Venus makes it pretty, so it makes it better. You know, so what almost needs to be burned down, washed away, and rebuilt? It's almost like take everything off the wall and start over. Take all the books off of the bookshelf and only put the ones you love back up there. Look
Mm.
at your finances, look at your estate planning. And if you haven't proactively done the things that we ought to do for our loved ones, Pluto rules death, right? And taxes. I almost said Texas. Maybe Pluto rules Texas.
I'm sure Pluto does.
I'll take it. I like the Pluto energy, but the idea here is like there's no time like the present to be considering your long-term financial plans and your estate plans for your family.
Okay.
We get this twice this year, so May 1st and November 13th. So you could initiate a financial project that has a conclusion around November 13th. On the 2nd, Venus is going to enter Aries. And so this is like, you think about yin and yang, but this is more yang than yin, okay? This is Venus finds inspiration in Aries. It doesn't feel like the perfect match, right? Because Venus is like the softer, more receptive, dreamier, beautiful one. And Aries is the one that's I am, right? Like it's about me is how this can come across. So, and Jupiter is going to move into Aries later in the month too. So I think we're going to see a lot of, and
Jupiter in Aries. That's so fascinating.
I know.
I'm
So
trying to feel that. It's like, does that turn into any kind of conflagration of me being for myself? Like, does that?
absolutely.
Okay, so we want to watch that one, especially because my moon is Aries, and I don't want to be all emotional, going, "It's all about me,"
Well,
in a big way, like
in a
Jupiter.
big way. I think we'll see a lot of that. And I think it's easier to digest when you know it's like, oh, that's the astrology. You know, like when Jupiter was in Scorpio and we had the Me Too movement, right? We can see like, oh, that's the astrology. This is destined.
I
But
got it.
I think we're going to see that in the Jupiter and Aries in the media as well. And maybe we'll get a little sneak peek here on the 2nd as Venus moves into Aries. She'll be there all month through May 28th. So May 2nd through 28th, Venus in Aries. And sometimes it's okay to put yourself first. Sometimes it's okay to communicate your needs, right? Let's just
Yes,
getting
absolutely.
clear and direct is what Aries can help with, right? Like I'm just getting clearer and clearer with my Venus relationship issues. So there it is again, another layer of it, right? May 4th through 7th, you know, there's a real energy boost in the skies. There's a huge list of transits that are very interesting to me. And I have this whole week circled for forward momentum. I just want to remind us that to not like blow it all in the first week, like just let the week be
Pace
good.
yourself, like you said before, pace yourself. So I'll
Yes,
quote you
please.
again on that one. You got a whole month ahead of you.
That's right. That's right. And don't overdo it on the things that drain you, like coffee, or the things that kind of keep you stimulated and in hyperdrive or overdrive. Just be careful with it that first week, because there's plenty of energy and opportunity available. um, Good window to find forward momentum is what I wrote in my notes. Now, just know that Mercury is in shadow during this time. No big deal. You're gonna be like, when is Mercury retrograde? Well, it's not until May 10th, but you're gonna feel it because the shadow period. Mercury retrogrades in Gemini and will eventually back all the way up into Taurus. But Mercury's retrograde May 10th through June 2nd. So most of May, part of June. Of course, communications, travel, cars, stuff like that tend to go haywire. So taking care of things, if you need to get your registration, it's probably not going to be a smooth and easy process. You just plan for some extra time. Online registrations, it just things start to go hinky. But when it's in Gemini,
Did you
you
say
can
hinky?
hinky, yeah.
Hinky. I've never heard hinky. That's so adorable.
Oh, I don't know if it's a family thing or a Southern thing or what. Maybe somebody can let me know.
Love
Hinky.
it.
But the themes of Gemini, right? So if you're taking your retrograde period as a time to review, reassess, rewrite, restory something, Gemini is about writing and communications. Gemini rules the shoulders and the lungs and the hands and the wrists and the ability to tinker with stuff. Gemini rules making small things. It rules studying. It rules lots of conversation. Communication is the easy one. It rules siblings. It governs over our close neighbors, right? So Gemini is much more than just talking and getting your oil changed, right? There's going back over old journals, connecting with childhood friends, people you haven't talked to in a long time. Maybe some people are having their reunions. Gemini gives us a lot to think about. And so I want us to stay curious. I want us to stay open-minded and to not make a decision based on one data point, because
there's that again. You want us to really just keep collecting and be open. Okay.
yeah. I mean, this is a huge cosmic advantage. If you can really hear that and work with it, it's a huge cosmic advantage. Allowing room to go back and forth, not committing to something and not pinning somebody in a situation. So as Mercury is going retrograde, Jupiter is going to move into Aries. Jupiter will be in Aries May 10th through October 28th. All right. So this is fireball energy. I wrote down some inspiration from my yoga teacher on this one. She says, the life that you live is your example to the world, right? So Aries, the life that I live, not that I'm an Aries, but Aries represents I am, right? That's my example to the world, Jupiter. That's what's magnified. How I live my life is the legacy I'm leaving my children, my neighbors, the people that I'm in close relationship with, right? So there's
very physical, right? The first sign, physical, doingness, and I-ness, like the I identity. Yeah, and with fire.
with fire. And so there's that, like that's kind of a higher octave of it. Yeah. But Jupiter tends to supersize. Jupiter is the magnifying glass. And if we're supersizing the self, we're putting the magnifying glass Jupiter on Aries, the self. What are the lists that you want to run through in your journal? Where have I been selfish? Where have I been self-centered? Where have I been self-righteous, self-loathing, self-seeking? Where have I been too selfless? Where could I be more selfless? Like these themes, like maybe it's not about me. Am I taking something personally that wasn't intended to be? That's a long time to work with those themes, but man, if we do it at a karmic level, at a collective level, if we keep just looking at it this long period of time, what can we graduate? What can we, where can we be cycle breakers? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That feels really, really good. And when you were talking about the retrograde, I literally was like, my big thing is don't take it personally. Like when the haywire and the technical, if I think it's personal on some level and I forget this is just happening to all of us and it's energy and it's, and so this seems to fit right in because that's starting on the same time, right? May 10th.
Yeah.
correct? So they're both happening on the same day. So not taking the communication stuff and the technical stuff and all the Mercury stuff personally, because I'll want to, maybe because Jupiter's expanding my personhood or wants to expand my personhood. So that could be really good.
Or expose your personhood.
Expose whatever. Yeah, exactly. But it's definitely getting, so love it.
Something else I would just want to open the conversation around is there's a lot of pop culture, pop psychology that talks about narcissism and narcissistic traits. And I have a master's in health psychology. I'm classically trained in the DSM-4, and I just am concerned that we're using that term real loosely, and it's not.
Hallelujah, sister.
You know what I mean?
It's so with you. And then it becomes a way from a victim side of having power by making the other the one that's doing something to me. And I lose the chance to really own my own power when I do that. So when we overdo the whole narcissistic thing, we're like, it's just quickly, I think, eschewing my own power if I do that quickly.
It is
shadow work there to be done around that whole side of me where I might be. You guys, I'm going to put a link for my shadow work for the solar plexus chakra. Okay. Yeah.
Narcissism is real, and I'm not saying that it's not real, but let's reserve it for those cases where that is a proper diagnosis.
So it doesn't dilute it. It's kind of like when the boy cries wolf all the time and he finally cries wolf and no one listens, right? It's like we overuse it, it loses its value where it belongs. I 100% agree. I think I'm so glad you took a second to stop and go, let me say this about narcissism. So both Tiffany and I are inviting all of you, including ourselves, to look at where that's popping up in your own life, that term, and just where can you do some shadow work and back away from it and be more just like, where do I need to take my own power and those kinds of things. Yeah.
And be aware that we probably are going to continue to see it in pop cult psychology and in the headlines and in the news. And we're going to see archetypes that piss us off, that make our blood boil, that get under our skin.
We already have been. Yeah. It's going to point, isn't it?
I think so. And so it's going to continue to happen. And if you get triggered by it, it's like you lose the game, right? So just stay in observer mode, take that data point, do your Ho'oponopono prayer at the thing that's messing you up, and then take some self-responsibility. Where did I set the ball rolling? Because if I'm upset, if I'm angry, then I know that I somehow put myself in that situation, right? Like I can take Jupiter and Aries and make my self-work a very positive experience. Now on the 15th or 16th, depending on your time zone, the middle of the month, we're going to have our lunar eclipse in 25 degrees of Scorpio. It's going to square Saturn in Aquarius, right? Scorpio and Aquarius are fixed signs. This is a very volatile lunar climate with an eclipse energy in Scorpio. Like, it doesn't look great.
This is interesting.
I'm calling it the energy of slammed doors and holy wars. So slammed doors and holy wars.
Did you just come up with that yourself?
I put it in my notes when I was preparing for
That's so cool. But I mean, you just wrote that yourself. Slam doors and holy wars. I love it. Awesome.
It's not really a shirt you want to wear.
Yeah, but it is a t-shirt moment. A black t-shirt.
Yes, very black. The energy behind that, right? Like, it feels like when you have two fixed signs and they're like boards and they go to clash, it feels like, something can shatter. It's not like they're bending.
No bend, there's no give. Yeah.
There's no give. It feels, that's why I'm just want to reiterate, don't force, don't ultimatum, don't fracture, because it will break, and maybe it needs to break. And if that's the case, that's okay, right? But during this eclipse, there's a lot going on in the background behind that intense eclipse that is square Saturn, right? Not great. Matters of the heart, heavily involved. Venus is going to conjunct Chiron. The sun is going to square Saturn. The sun is going to sextile Neptune. There's a lot of heart issue, healing stuff going on.
Yeah.
And Scorpio does not let you deal with superficial wounds, right? We can't just put a Band-Aid on. We have to dig the bullet out.
Oh,
And
it's deep with Scorpio. So with those things you just said, because I usually note the in the notes the dates. You guys, all the timestamps and dates are below. Do you know the dates on those ones you just said?
they're all on the eclipse date.
They're all at the same time on the eclipse date. So that's
The
why you're
Mercury-
calling it this big black
There's a lot. There's like just a lot blending,
Yeah, the
right?
minute you felt said it, I was like, I kind of backed away a little, and
Yeah.
I did. My body kind of backed away a little and kind of settled in more. Like
Mhm.
you're saying, don't like, I might want to notice that I might want to go out and, but I want to notice it rather than just do it.
Do
And so
it.
I backed off and then I sank down a little more deep in my seat when you said those energies.
And I think we're going to see the holy wars more in the news, but you can also know, like, where do you take a stand for something that you're really passionate about and might be wrong about, right? Like, just being careful with people that project so much into what you're saying. Like, just be willing to be wrong is how I would think. I like that's probably the main bullet point. It's just like, be willing to be wrong.
We're back again to what you said before. Be willing to know that there's many rights.
Mhm.
So you could still be right and the other person can be right. Don't be willing to not make it a dichotomy, but different sides of that gem again, because that just keeps coming back, right? Because I'm aware that like that's a little bit different when I'm being willing to. It's not so much I need to be wrong. I just need to realize this is right for me, and I don't force it on someone else. Because if we're all in that Aries eye, then it's time to get aware of what's right for me, but not think what's right for me is right for another and force it on them. Is that?
Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly. And you only find that out through your own experience. Nobody can tell that to you, right? So it's a journey, but it's especially important to be careful about that around the eclipse, because right behind it on May 18th, Mars is going to conjunct Neptune in Pisces. This one is super interesting. I can't wait to see how it's
Say
going to
that slower. Mars is going to conjunct Neptune
Neptune
in
in
Pisces.
Pisces. Yeah, on May 18th,
Mars
Mars
in
will conjunct
Pisces.
Neptune in Pisces. And so there's many ways to look at this. I have Mars conjunct Neptune in my first house in my natal chart. So I have a personal experience I can share with you. There's just two very opposite ways of dealing with this energy or of expressing it, right? Richard Branson has Mars conjunct Neptune.
Okay.
Mars is about action and sports and competition and piercing and going forward, right? The good things. We need that. We need some initiation energy. But then it's conjunct Neptune, which evades and is evasive and is beautiful energy.
Soft. And yeah, it's like more
Loose, right? Like it's porous.
nebulous.
Yes. And so on one hand, I'm predicting a lot of invasions, people crossing boundaries,
Oh, yeah.
border wars, people, going like this Mars unwanted energy in this innocuous space. It feels a little elusive. Our boundaries get unclear.
Yeah,
That can,
even in relationship, like you're naming it in the bigger picture, but also in the personal picture, because the relationships will be big. Boundaries are important and stuff. And it's like, where is that getting messy?
exactly. Where is it getting messy? That's one side of that. On the other side, Mars and Neptune, that's spiritual leadership. That is really interesting piercing of the consciousness. It's pushing us forward, right? It's taking us into our hope motivation. It's taking us forward into innocence. So it's
Oh, so you're kind of saying like this is an energy can take something that's usually nebulous, unknown, and not physically active and make it physically present, active, clear, leadership, decisive.
So if we're all on our best behavior, that's president energy, right? We're willing to follow the leader. Now, what kind of leader are we following with Jupiter and Aries? Like, are we drinking the Kool-Aid and everybody's in a new cult, and we don't know it until later? So it's just really important to not make any fast, hard decisions and just to keep watching.
Data.
We will actually be able to see this here in Austin, where I am reporting from. We'll be able to see this in the skies that early morning. So if you guys are up early on the 18th before the sun peaks out, you might be able to see Mars conjunct Neptune. it takes us on a new voyage. It takes us on a new spiritual voyage. It could be as simple as you have that like ecstatic yoga class and you're different now and you're on your pink cloud of yoga peace, right? It could be as impactful as, border wars.
I got it. That's
So
it. I'm on my pink cloud of yoga peace.
right. Right. So that's Mars conjunct Neptune. Mars does roll early. So if you feel it before the 18th, if you see it in
Yeah.
the media before the 18th, Mars comes in hot, right? On the 21st, the sun will enter Gemini. So May 21st, we're welcoming our Gemini birthdays. Make sure you think about your Geminis, send them cards and texts and hearts. And if you need any gifts for your Geminis, right, just make sure that you're thinking about them. As the sun moves into Gemini, it will meet Mercury there, and those two will sextile Jupiter. So what this means is good news. It's bright ideas. It's success. It's making memories. It's solid communication, right? It feels like we're having some clear thinking. In business, I wrote this whole article on Down to Business with Mercury in 2022. And so I listed all the possible transits. It's really a cool, I guess, dissection.
Is that on your site?
Yes, and I'd be
Okay, you
happy to
send that
share
to
it.
me and we'll put a link for that. Okay, and what's it called? Like, what am I going to name the
It's
link?
called Down to Business with
Down to
Mercury.
business. Okay, so guys, there'll be a link. That'll be with Tiffany's links. So
It's cool. And as we're talking about it, it's like this is one of those moments where you can launch an ad, where you can do a new like communicate through your business more frequently, right? You can test
that's
some.
what I'll be doing. Exactly. You
Okay,
always,
good.
yeah, circling space. It's time at that point. We should have our new site and be, yeah, it's like hard to
Mhm.
explain it. And by then, hopefully, we'll know.
Right, and that's like an influx of communications, and so sometimes people feel bombarded. Like I was recently super bombarded in communications, and I'm somebody who needs to relieve pressure, and so that can feel it can feel like a lot, right? So in some ways, it's like, well, are all of your emails like cha-ching, 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 like sales, 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 people booking, clients booking, or is it just a lot of fluffy talk, like, hey, I was just thinking about you. And so having to wade through a lot of different communications is going to be very normal that time of the month. And you just want to plan for it around the 21st. Send your newsletters, refine your image. Mercury's still retrograde, so we're going to be careful when I say launch an ad. I probably shouldn't say launch, but the idea is like there's a revision going on.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, new voice in it.
And right behind that, on the 23rd, Mercury is retrograde in Gemini. It will go backwards into Taurus. And so where we've been revising Gemini things that we talked about earlier, now we're going to revise Taurus things. So
Yes.
what is this? Diet, right? Our physicality, our physical body, our sensuality, in doing mediumship readings, the number one thing that our loved ones want to say is enjoy your life, enjoy being in your body. You know what I mean?
Gift, you're gonna not be there in a while. So
Yes. And it's not like I don't know, it's just feel the wind on your skin, right? And appreciate it. Take a moment to be in here in this home. Revise whatever needs revising in your body temple, right? This is a perfect time to hit the reset button. Taurus is also very stubborn. So where are you being stubborn? Where are we kind of being like the bull? There's a lot to think about with self-reflection. So if we stay curious and open-minded, we are going to shift so much the rest of the year. And
so
if we
so
go ahead.
Taurus is about money too, a little. It's related to Venus and yeah, or related to Venus, the planet Venus. Okay. Yeah.
So another opportunity to look at your finances, right? Another opportunity.
Another one.
Taurus is the conservative side of money. So this is about saving more than it is spending, right? So being aware of that. I could go off the rails with that topic, but May 28th, we've got Venus will then move into Taurus. So that is exactly what you were picking up on earlier.
That's the whole now she's
Now,
comfortable together.
now she's a little bit more comfortable out of Aries. Things feel zhuzhier, things feel better in the energy. She is going to square Pluto. And so that's uncomfortable at May 28th. it looks like breakups, breakdowns, breakthroughs in what? Love, money, and diets, right? And so I feel like here we are again with this start and stop. When
Mm.
somebody tries to quit smoking, sometimes they go cold turkey and sometimes they don't, right? When somebody tries to quit drinking, sometimes they go cold turkey one day and sometimes they keep going back to it for a while. When somebody tries to break up with a really unhealthy relationship, they keep going back to it for a while. You know, there are neural pathways that are very deeply embedded that have something to do with our survival and our coping mechanisms from when we were little, right?
Mhm.
And I'm using smoking and drinking and relationships, but insert anything.
Could
It
be
could be
anything.
work.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And thank
It's
you
just,
for bringing up the neural pathways again, because a lot of times people think, oh, well, I can. I've noticed, especially in our spiritual arena, the spiritual people think, oh, well, I've changed my mind about that. I know better, so it's going to change, and it requires so much patience with this body that's got in grooves. They call them
yeah.
samsaras, right? In yoga, where it's grooves, like the record. And we used to have when I'm aging myself now. When I was a kid, we actually played records. I actually had a jukebox in my house and stuff. So it's playing in those grooves. And that's what we're doing. We're playing in our neural grooves. What I do see is they're saying more and more, we're able to be more and more neuroplastic or have more neuroplasticity and be able to change things. But still, it's a process. And I love when you mention the pathways and that there is a part of us that has programming.
There is, and that I feel like that it
Physical
just goes back
programming.
to the energy of like dip in, dip out, gather a data point, go back, start a diet, mess it up, go back to it. You know what I mean? It's
And learn
just
something from it as you're
learn
doing. Because
something
I'm
from it.
noticing as you're doing that, you're like, use it, use it. That's the energy I'm getting from you. Like, use everything
Mm-hmm. And you're
for
gonna know
learning and growth.
when to take action. We're in really strange times. It is a fascinating time to be alive. The headlines are going to be out of control with Jupiter and Aries, and so now we're at the end of the month. You know what to do. You know what to do, and this is your cosmic advantage, right?
Mhm.
So that is the forecast. I have the best day for you if you'd
Okay.
like.
Yes, that would be the next thing I'd ask. The best worst. Do you want
The
to go
best.
worst first and save the dessert for last?
Oh, the worst first? Okay, so the I'm just thinking that the most challenging day is going to be the 15th, right? Like you can't have an eclipse squaring
I
Saturn. I mean,
kind of
all
thought
that
you
is
were going
like,
to go there. Yeah, I kind of thought you were going to go there.
right? And eclipses are very hindsight energy. So a lot of people that are like, "Oh, wait, let's book an eclipse reading." They're just elusive, non-predictable. What you want to do is look at where 25 degrees of Scorpio is in your chart. Everybody can get a free birth chart online these days,
Yep.
and all you're looking for is where is 25 degrees of Scorpio? What house is that in? And then study that house's themes,
Okay.
right? So mine happens to be in the 12th house axis, which means 12th and 6th house are going to be activated. The opposite house is always going to be activated.
Okay.
Um, for me, that's the house of the unknown, the hidden prisons, the psychic world, the director world, the behind the scenes world, right? The world where I like to play. So I'm excited to see what we got going on, especially since I just got back from this week-long advanced forensics,
That's so
training,
cool. That is so cool.
right? So like when is my eclipse moment going on, right? So that's 12th house, but you also want to look at the opposite house. So for mine, that's 6th house, which is a house of routine. So what's going to happen to change my routine? It's not like I need to be better or do something better. It could be anything. The city could put in a new sidewalk and it changes my routine for a while, but it is an eclipse moment because it everything changes afterwards and it's hard to predict. So I don't want people going crazy, like trying to predict how the eclipse is going to hit them exactly. It's just a hindsight thing. And not all of astrology is like that. Eclipses are tied to the nodes. And so this is a very fated, destined
Mm,
point in your story,
mm,
right? And so
mm.
it's like, how do you want to write it?
You're
And
back to the same theme again. You're really back. You keep coming back to it. Just don't make it all about the eclipse day and this one thing and everything, but just like let it be the unfolding story that it is. And that is going to change something. But you might not know what that thing is until you start letting it unravel in front of you. Yeah. So
yeah,
again, it's about data and different perspectives and just keep taking and let everything be a learning. perspective and use it. These same themes in different words just keep coming up today, which is really cool. Because I think if you're watching this right now, you're probably going to remember this better because Tiffany keeps coming at it from different angles. I love it. And that's why I'm repeating it a lot, Tiffany. So do you have your cards? Are we going to do our...
I have my cards. You want to wait on the best day till after?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. No, let's do the best one.
The best day is, I'm circling May 6th. There's a lot of good energy the first week, right? There's that very fresh Beltane energy going on. But on the 6th, Mercury is going to sextile Venus, and it's a good day for a good day. It's communication's easier, things are flowing.
That's a t-shirt, Tiffany. That one's a t-shirt. It's a good day for a good day.
May 6th, right? All right, let's shuffle the cards and see what it is.
Particularly relationally, communications and relationship and stuff. Like that's a good date. I don't know what day of the week that is or whatever, but
either. Let's look.
Mercury sextiling Venus, you said, right?
Yes, and the 6th is a Friday.
Yeah, so it's a good date night, it sounds like.
Yes, it's a good day to knock off early, enjoy your afternoon. Maybe you take, Friday's ruled by Venus. And so I was born on a Friday. I love Fridays.
I can hear people now going, well, Tiffany said so to their boss. Like,
right? Guys,
what?
Forecast says we need to stop early, right?
It's a good day to leave early.
All right, well, let's clear the deck and just see what it is that we need to pay attention to, an extra layer of information for the first half of May, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm just clearing the deck for our Chakra Boosters friends. Anybody watching that's looking for an extra layer of information to feel heard and seen by the unseen worlds. Just connecting with you guys in a field of unconditional love and infinite wisdom where all things are possible. We get the Prince of Wands. And so this energy is about going forward. It is good energy, but it is also somewhat immature, right? So I feel like the Prince of Wands is coming in hot, just like the May forecast. It feels good. We're going forward. We're pushing.
Yeah, look at that. The lion, the sun, what a beautiful card.
Isn't that cool?
See the fiery heat, focus, move forward in that, but there's also a whimsical element of it with the unicorn and all that too, but it's definitely heat. Cool.
Even the unicorn's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'll stay over here. I'll be in the dark blue area. I'm not going to get too much into that fire thing.
And the lion's like, you got this? You know what to say? It's like, it's just interesting to look at how you are the leader of the energy here. Yes. So don't forget that, right? You are the cool, confident.
This is the solar plexus energy here, but it then creates magic spiritually. That's what it feels like.
I like that.
Again, which is going to be the beginning that leads us into the energy of the Aries and Jupiter, because it does happen on the 10th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're still in the first half of the month. Mm-hmm. So we're coming in hot, but then we're going to bring in that hotness and apply it to that magic, to that Jupiter, to the unicorns, to the universe, to the stars, to the blue, to the dark.
And just be aware that this is Prince energy. It's not king, it's not queen, right? This is like, we don't know everything. So go be confident, but be willing to be wrong. Be willing to see other sides.
A little bit adolescent. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Good reminder.
Our second card for the second half. Oh gosh, I just dropped too many. Just getting some extra layer of information. What is it that we really need to be aware of? Just asking Spirit to give us the best card to help us
make it after the eclipse.
Yeah.
The whole post-eclipse part of the month. What are we?
All right. So we get the Ten of Cups reversed, right? And this is kind of what we've been talking about. The Ten of Cups upright would be the loving, happy family, the perfect situation. Because it's reversed like this, it reminds me that, that April 30th eclipse is going to have a bit of a gong sound the rest of the month, right? And so I feel like it is right next to Uranus, right? So lots of plot twists is what I'm going to say. Plot twists in terms of our relationships.
So now you're going back to the April 30th one you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going back because of it's on Eros, and I feel like it has that's why we're in this like relationship reverb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, 10 of cups, sacral relationships. Like, this is really interesting. And every time I get a reverse, I'm always like, it could go the other way. Like, what am I doing with the energy? And it's
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a wild card in terms of our love. It could be that somebody that you loved in childhood comes back around, right? That Mercury retrograde, but by the end of the retrograde period, are they really even there? Was that really even what you were attracted to? It could be that you have a really solid situation that starts to feel like questionable. It doesn't mean that you need to break up. It just means that there's some really wild card energy going on in our relationships. So again, don't judge somebody by one night, like, or one bar scene, or one yoga class.
So I can see it, because I always think inside of every reversed one, there is the ability to take it as a warning and have it be that. Is that a lion again? Or no, that's a woman. Literally her chest for a minute. For a minute, it almost looked like a lion face with the necklace or whatever's going on.
I can see that now, yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. And the dove and the flowers.
The moon, and there's a child with her. This is the
fish at the bottom. What is that at the bottom?
That's a fish in a cup.
That's so cool.
Yeah, there's a hummingbird and some butterflies. Lots of symbology for graduating or next leveling your relationship.
All those warnings you were saying, we just need to beware, beware, beware. And this is not the month to make ultimatums or force things. I'm going to say it again. I'm repeating you more than I ever have this month.
Thank you. It's nice to hear it back. Honestly, I'm like, oh, good one. Like,
oh my gosh. Well, thank you. That's a lot. That's a lot. If you guys enjoyed this, click the like. So Tiffany will keep coming back to share with us, and check out Tiffany's links below. If you like all this stuff and you want the aspects and stuff, you want them on your own phone or your own computer, check out her digital astrology. Is it a calendar? Is that the way to say it?
Yeah, digital astrology calendar.
Yeah. Okay. And what else? Any last things, Tiffany, before we go?
No, guys, I just want to remind us it's easy to lose track of what's important, right? So does it really matter is a question. Can I let it go? Is this a data point I can use? And not taking things personally.
I was just going to say, am I taking it too personally? That was, if you were going to add that one, that was going to be my last one. Yay, we're so on the same page this month, even more than ever. So you guys, thanks for being with us. We hope you laughed and enjoyed it. And I took a few notes. Tiffany, remember to check out what she said about the Scorpio for that. Was it the 25 degrees Scorpio?
25 degrees of Scorpio.
What house and your opposite house. Check that out. Play with that a little bit. And we will see you in June. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tiff.